Okay, this is the live-action Lilo and Stitch crash out that I promised. Um, it's just gonna be a whole bunch of me rambling, so I apologize for however long and however insane this sounds. Um, so, well, okay, if I could summarize it, it's that this is a lobotomized version of the original film. If you could lobotomize a film, this is what you get. If you blindfolded me, spun me around 10 times, handed me a broken Nerf gun, and asked me to hit an ant 10 yards away, I still would not miss the point as much as this movie. I do not understand most of the changes they made. Why did, okay, I'll get into them individually, but we'll start with things that I did like first. I did like that they did some marketing involving Stitch crashing other Disney IPs. I think that's pretty fun. I think that's pretty cool. David does talk a little awkwardly around Nani sometimes, and I thought that was kind of funny. They did cast some of the original voice actors, and they didn't really have to do that. There is one of them that I have a little bit of a problem with. They did cast. The biggest one is Nani's original voice actor plays a social service worker, and I'll talk more about her later. And then lastly is they made Pleakley a little fruity, and I have words about that too. I'll talk about that later. But let's make one thing clear. The bare minimum they did was they cast Native Hawaiian actors for the Native Hawaiian roles. That's the bare minimum. We shouldn't have to worry about that. Good on them for doing it, I guess. Congrats. You won your fucking participation trophy. Like, fucking hell. That's not something we should have to worry about. Okay, starting with the things that I actually disliked. This is in no particular order, but this is just as they come to me. They changed Cobra Bubbles, so we'll talk about that aforementioned service worker. Why is she in the film? That, it doesn't make sense to me that she does nothing. Well, I mean, she does something, obviously, but it feels like nothing. She doesn't have the same sort of presence as Cobra Bubbles. Hell, Cobra Bubbles doesn't feel like Cobra Bubbles. Instead of just this, huge, intimidating, scary, CIA agent looking guy who works, all things considered, really mundane job as a social worker, he looks like a social worker, but he is a CIA agent. Why? What's the point of that? You completely missed the point. Okay, fine, whatever, sure. A side thing. This is more of a hunch, if anything. But I feel like Lilo and Nani are both kind of meaner. I can't really place it, and I don't understand. But they feel meaner than the animated counterparts, and I don't really know how to place it. Pleakley and Jumba. So I mentioned Pleakley being kind of fruity, and that almost makes up for the fact that he's not in drag. And I say almost because for some fucking reason, well, no, I know why. They're in human disguises for a majority of the film. And the reason why, I know why, is because they didn't want to fucking pay any CGI animators. What, That's so fucking stupid, because it's not like they never show up. Like, it's only a little bit at the beginning and then a little bit at the end. No, part of the, like, climax of the film, Jumba is in his CGI, like his alien CGI form, because he's the villain. Why is Jumba the villain? Like, he calls himself an evil scientist at the beginning, and they watch that, and they just run with it. Like, he's an asshole now. He's not the fucking same character. Jumba is just a straight asshole. He goes to Lilo's house to catch Stitch, but he doesn't do it, like, he starts taunting Lilo for some fucking reason about, like, sentimental value or something, how, like, she's hanging on to her parents or something. Why? What? Okay, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why? I don't know. The big fucking, what was it, Gantu? The big kaiju fucking alien is just gone. He's just not in this fucking film. And again, I feel like that's because they didn't want to film a fucking CGI monster, or animate a CGI monster, but fucking sure, fuck you for that. Stitch himself does not have the same weapon of mass destruction feel as the original one does. Like, in the beginning, he just kind of, when he escapes the prison ship, instead of, like, going out and kind of out of his way to kind of destroy the ship, like in the original, he goes through, like, an electrical panel, and kind of scurries his way through to a ship that, like a cop car ship that he steals to get to Earth. Instead, in this one, he runs into a vent, steals a car, and then hyperdrives away. And we don't see any of it. All we see is the inside of the bridge with the Grand Chancellor, whatever she was called. And somebody telling us he stole a ship. Over there, he's gonna fly away, and then he flies away, and we don't get, like, we don't have that chase sequence. We don't have anything showing him being evil or a weapon of mass destruction, which gets rid of the entire point of, like, redemption and second chances. But, and then after that, when we next see Stitch, he is flying close to Earth, and suddenly an alarm goes off, and instead of, like, he's supposedly smarter than 100 supercomputers, is what I think they said. Instead of doing that, he just breaks it, and then when everything else starts blaring at him, he breaks the rest of it, and that's how he crash lands. And that doesn't scream, you know, supercomputer intelligent weapon of mass destruction to me. That screams, he's just an idiot. Like, I don't understand. And so when he does crash land on Earth, instead of going for, like, a major city, like in the original, he gets, instead of getting run over, I should say, in the original, which, you know, shows off his invulnerability, his invincibility thing, he just crashes near a wedding. He sees a piece of cake, and then he just guns for it. Like, he just goes after a fucking piece of cake. Why? There was one part in the original movie that shows him liking cake, and they saw that, and they just ran with it. I don't fucking... Did they watch the rest of the film? Like, okay. Speaking of weapon of mass destruction thing, Lilo mentions how she lives on an island with no large cities. And in the original, that makes sense. They live on Kauai, which is, smaller island. It doesn't have a big population in it. In this one, there's a large city. Yep. This one takes place on Oahu, or at least I think it does. Because Nani at one point mentions being on North Shore and Lilo being on the opposite side, which means that not only do they live on Oahu, they live in the only big city in Hawaii. Like, Honolulu has over 6 times the population as the next largest city, and Lilo regularly breaks into a resort so much that they know her by name. They know what she looks like. They say over loudspeakers telling her to leave. She breaks in regularly. There's a fucking Lord. Oh my god. There are pan out shots where you can see Honolulu and you can see Diamondback. It's fucking insane. Like, dude, I know she's 6, but fucking hell, you dumb child. Jesus. Okay. Anyway. They do change. One of the more horrendous scene changes, I think, is the way they changed Nani, after Nani is fired, how she goes about, and more importantly, how she fails getting new jobs. In the original, it was very more focused, and it shows off each job and how Stitch fucks that up for her. And in this one, it's just they show 2. I think in the original they show 3 or 4. In this one, they make 2. What's it called? They make 2 scenes, I guess, or they show 2 times, and then they show a short montage of 4 or 5 of just them handing a resume back. And that's that. Okay, and I say that itself is not too bad, I guess, but what it does lead into is David gives Nani a job opening as a surf instructor, and a teacher to teach people how to surf. And then this is I think my third biggest problem with the film is they change the Hawaiian roller coaster ride scene in the original, it's David, Nani, Lilo, and Stitch all surfing and all bonding, and that shows how Stitch gradually becomes a part of the family. Versus this one, we see David taking David taking Lilo out to surf, Stitch sitting on the beach, and then Nani is showing a group of people how to surf. What? Why? That's one of the most, in my opinion, impactful scenes in the original movie. And why is this changed like this? I don't understand. After a point, Nani does go out and does join does join David and Lilo, but it doesn't have the same impact. Like, and then Stitch, the way Stitch joins is not because is not him bonding. He sees a dog on somebody else's surfboard and asks to try it. Huh? What? Huh? Excuse me? Like, what was the point of that? Why is... Okay. I guess this is a stretch, but it might be like they ran with him seeing the adopted sign and getting adopted by Lilo. And that's how he that's how he hides, and that's how he gets adopted by Lilo. But in this, oh yeah, that's another thing they changed. So in this one, Lilo doesn't like buy Stitch, like doesn't buy an adoption paper, so which does kind of play into how a change in the ending, which I am going to talk about. But that's in a moment. Actually, let's talk about that now, because I think the changing in the ending is actually my second least favorite part about this film. So a lot of discourse on about this movie is how they changed the ending for the film to Nani giving Lilo up to the state, which is not true. And so what happens is instead is Nani has a full ride scholarship, and she chooses that scholarship to I believe it was University of California, San Diego. And you know what? That's valid. I can't say that I would disagree with that decision. To go there, not to leave your fucking little sister behind, but if I was Nani if I had the choice, I would take a full ride scholarship. And people will say, you live on Hawaii, which is one of the best places to learn marine biology. She wants to become a marine biologist. And fair, I guess. But UC San Diego has a really good marine biology program too. And you know what? I can accept that. What I cannot accept is not that she leaves Lilo with her neighbor, Mrs. Tutu, I think her name was, and that's fine. Like, okay, that kind of defeats. That's not that it defeats the point, but it's just a worse ending, I think. They had her stay with Mrs. Tutu and Stitch. And I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think Tutu is David's grandma, and she does play like a grandmother role to Lilo. So that's fine. It's not, she's not giving Nani is not giving Lilo up to the state, and that's not terrible. I think it does kind of spit on the original movie still, but it's not egregious. The most, I think, egregious part of this film, and the worst part I personally have, the worst problem, is how they take away all of the anti-colonialism and tourism commentary. So the big, most notable change, I think, is they get rid of the fat ice cream tourist, and the part where Lilo like takes pictures of them, of him and other tourists, is like a joke / commentary about how Native Hawaiians were sort of commoditized for tourism. The same thing still happens now, and it's still kind of major. In Japan, people have been taking picture of like geisha, who are just walking down the street. It's this literal same exact thing as what they're saying. And the other big thing is they remove Nani's line about the luau being fake. Luau were not originally like these party celebration things. Luau's were originally a holy event. I cannot say off the top of my head what they were for, but over time they have become this, for lack of a better word, satiricized version, I guess. It's not like in a corrupted version. That's a good way to put it, is it's a corrupted version. And I feel like that's a good way of what the movie is as well. It's a corrupted version of Lilo and Stitch that removes every possible bit that somebody could possibly find offensive. To be fair, I am finding a lot of this movie offensive. So they didn't do a damn good job at it, did they? But it's just, I don't. Oh, I did mention Lilo not buying Stitch or adoption papers. It does change the ending, in a way where it doesn't feel like the Grand Chancellor has as good of an excuse to have Stitch stay because of like a government ownership thing. Like, she just kind of has a change of heart for some reason. I don't understand. It's weird. The other ending change. The biggest here's the biggest problem I have with the change in the ending is how I feel like they didn't commit. Lilo and Nani can still visit Lilo because she has an alien portal gun. I'm not making that up. They have a portal gun, and that's kind of how Stitch defends himself. And so Nani gets it at the end, and that's how she visits Lilo. The problem is, it sounds like from the scene that she does it in, she's going behind their backs, so they don't know that she's doing. I don't understand what the idea here was. Like, either stick with and it's not like they're totally isolated either. Right before she visits, with the portal gun, we see Lilo and Nani talking on FaceTime. So it's not like they're completely separated either. I feel like, I don't know. That's all of the big things I think I have with the film. To summarize, I think it's the Hawaiian roller coaster change between the original and the new one. I think summarizes the film the best. Where on the original you had like them bonding, wholesome, versus the new one where Nani takes opportunities but still sort of stays with them, but it doesn't have the same, it doesn't feel the same. It's not as feels goody as the original, and it's just so I don't know. I hate this fucking movie. I don't hate a lot of things. This movie is fucking one of them. Okay. Bye.